Hey guys, welcome back to LOI Fan TV. We're back again for our League of Ireland Game Week 27 predictions. So now we're into the final 10 games, so it's really the run-in time. And in line with that, Ross is back from his travels. He's back on Irish land. Ross, how are you feeling?
Not too bad, Luke. Yeah, not too bad. It's my bad, in fairness, and we were looking to get a European video out this week, and I was kind of in between jet lag and bits and pieces. Didn't work out, so I'll take the brunt on that. We'll touch on a few of the European stuff in this one, but yeah, no, delighted to be back, and yeah, looking forward to a big weekend of football action this weekend. To be fair,
Yeah, it is a big weekend. Two games on Friday, a game on Saturday, and two games on Sunday. So yeah, staggered through the weekend, but
like
lots of
that.
talking points.
Nice, wasn't it, last weekend?
What?
To have that staggered approach to it, like.
Yeah, nice. It kind of like if there's four or five games on the Friday, like it's kind of by the time sun comes around, it's almost forgotten about, isn't it? So it's nice to kind of have a continuous talking point throughout the weekend.
100%, 100%. No, it is nice now. And yeah, yeah, looking forward to these ones. Obviously, the big one is probably the one in the TOLKA Park on Saturday, so we'll come to that, I assume. But that's kind of the one that catches the eye straight away.
Yeah, definitely huge permutations for both teams. Kind of at a bit of a crossroads in their season. So yeah, no, that's the big one. But as I said, are the talking boys throughout the league as well. A few surprise results over the weekend. So yeah, let's jump into them. I suppose in the Brandywells, first up, Cork City are traveling to Derry. Yeah, Derry off the back of a disappointing 2-0 away loss to Shamrock Rovers, which puts a huge nail in their title aspirations. Nearly almost rules it out, barring a disaster. And then Cork, on the other hand, will be, as much of a token gesture as well. A kind of good result against Cork, against Galway, but still, you're looking at the table and 8 points adrift with like -9 goal difference in the difference between them and Sligo. They're still probably goners too. So yeah, this one I wouldn't call it a dead rubber, but it's definitely two teams that are looking for purpose in their season.
Yeah, yeah. I guess for Derry, they're not so much looking up anymore. They're kind of looking behind them. You'd say, with kind of Drogheda Shels and Pats all winning last weekend as well, building some ground on them. So it's important for them to kind of not lose sight of that. And I think probably, I know they spent a lot of money in bits and pieces, but I think the main goal was for them to get back into Europe this season. And if they can finish in the top three, I think it's probably a good introduction season for Tiernan Lynch. He'll take that, I think. So yeah, definitely one that they can't lose sight on that. I don't think. Were you at the game on Sunday? Did you see how they played or anything?
I wasn't at it. I watched it back. But yeah, no, Rovers were like kind of well worth their money. Derry, like yeah, like they had flashes, but you couldn't argue with the scoreline at the end of the game. Yeah, Derry are just kind of one of these. They're just I don't know what it is. I feel like it's hard as well when you're chopping and changing. Like you're letting three lads go, you're bringing four lads in. It's almost hard to get into your full flow. So yeah, Derry, they're just missing something for me. I think, as I said, it's just a year. It's funny because like they have players for the here and now, but I feel like they're a year or two away from being full on challengers. So yeah, it was in the end, it was not easy enough for Rovers, but it was comfortable enough for
Yeah.
Rovers. That's they're kind of obviously the level setters in the league. So yeah, that's kind of really my view on it.
Yeah, fair. I think for Cork as well, it's just obviously getting a win on the board, and you said they kind of put they probably still are too far adrift now. But you just go back to that Sligo game that they threw away there a couple of weeks ago, and if they had a won that, Sligo obviously knocked 3 points off them, put another three on Cork, and there'd be only what a couple of points between them. Like, it shows you how small margins are really. Like,
Maybe
um,
2 points.
2 points, like a different complexion completely, wouldn't it? Like, if he's to be well in it, well in the mix, like what was it, 8 points now? It's just, it seems like a bridge too far for them to kind of put a run together. But if they're coming into this with like two wins on the bounce, you'd be thinking, geez, they might be able to nick something. But I just would fancy the home win here, I think.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine, as you said, like look at the league table. Derry joined third, Drogheda on the same points as them. Shelbourne 3 points behind them after making an array of signs. They'd be looking to get Europe, and Pat's 6 points behind them. Also, you know what Pats are like in the back end of the season. They hit form, so yeah, it's well within Derry's interest to get a win here, and I think they will. I'm going to go 3-1 Derry.
3-1 there. Yeah, I was thinking something similar. I'll go 2-0, 2-0 there. Yeah.
Very fair. Yeah, I suppose I'm moving on to the other game on Friday. Drogheda United are playing host to Waterford. Yeah, kind of maybe the talking point of the weekend results wise. Drogheda going to Daly Park and nicking a 1-0 win. A fantastic result for them. And then obviously Waterford playing host to Pats on the Sunday, who were ahead of Pats before the game, lost out 2-0 in the end. hard to really argue with that scoreline when you kind of look at the two teams on paper. So yeah, here you'd kind of imagine like Drogheda would be fancying this one, but then again, it's one of these weird things with Drogheda because they're of the level of a Waterford, so. Sitting back and soaking up pressures off teams like that, I find it to be a little bit more tricky for the Droghers. It almost suits them to play the better teams in the league. So yeah, this will be an interesting one.
Yeah, yeah, you kind of saw that last week with the kind of smash and grab and late
Yeah,
winner. I did. I think I went for the draw on that one. I think I predicted them to get something from it. Like you just, I think they beat Bohs three times actually this season, if I'm not wrong. But they have it in them to be able to soak up pressure and hit teams in the break. And I don't know if you saw Vinny Perth kind of described it as puke football, which is maybe a touch harsh, but like it's not great to watch, granted. Like, and that's why maybe when Kev Doherty was linked with his Shells and stuff, you kind of have your reservations about can he take that step up to the next level to a team. I think Drogheda is like the perfect fit for him because like they're happy with that style of play. Whereas if you go to one of the bigger teams, they mightn't be as willing to kind of sit in and have 30% possession and hit them on the break. But I think Drogheda are happy to do that. And listen, we probably both been expecting them to drop off at some stage and kind of fall back into mid-table obscurity or whatever. But they just seem to keep tipping away and keep picking up results. And you have to give them a lot of credit for the whole blow from Europe. Like that could easily have derailed their season and really kind of lost the motivation in the dressing room and stuff like that. And obviously losing Douglas James Taylor as well. Like they had a couple of blows within that month, but they've always picked themselves back up and went and gone again. So you have to give them great credit and give Kevin Doherty great credit for this, like the players and the fans. It seems like one big unit, and they're all constantly picking up really, really good results. So you have to give them a lot of credit for that.
yeah, you have to 100%. Like, look, Rovers really to go win the league. Bradley probably be in the hunt for manager of the year. But if Drogheda were to get European football, like Kevin Doherty, like like with the European. With the European derailment and like losing your best player at the Bows, and still pushing through, it would be a monumental achievement. And look, Vinny Perth, like he has a point when you talk about watch they're not necessarily the prettiest team to watch on the eye, but then again, when you look at budgets in the league, Drogheda are down there, and you're not going to come out and be open and be fluid when you have players of lesser quality. You're going to be compact and you're going to play to your strengths. So, you know, it's a catch 22 in a sense. Like it's like what do you want? Do you want to play nice football and get battered every week, or do you want to be nasty to play against and grind out results? Because if I was a Drogheda fan, I don't care as long as we're picking points up on the board. We're a Premier Division team. So yeah, if you get to Europe, a mass overachievement. So yeah, 100%. He's been doing unbelievably, and yeah, a top club. We couldn't really see him getting away with that in a bigger club. But then again, you know, um, you just don't know until you put him in the position. But yeah, he's been unbelievable.
And now he has Waterford. Obviously, on the other hand, then obviously disappointing result with Pats there. That probably kind of rules them out of any kind of late surge for Europe. You'd imagine really, and it's probably going to just be one where they're not in any relegation trouble at all, or not going to threaten the
Yeah.
teams. You could probably just see them finishing in and around that seventh position. Just kind of another mid-table season for them, which probably isn't the worst thing in the world. Like that's probably about right for them. Like that's where they should be really. And where you probably would have expected them at the start of the season, but you just wonder whether like will the motivation start to dwindle a little bit now come the last kind of quarter of the season really.
Yeah, Waterford are in a weird kind of no man's land spot in the league in seventh. You can't imagine finishing any lower, but you can't imagine finishing any higher. Like I
Yeah,
was only looking there, Paul Jammon's the top scorer in the league, which is
yeah,
great. Actually, he's a great player, but then again, he's 36. So like I have this kind of feeling with Waterford. Like yeah, it's all rosy in the garden now. We're a Premier Division team, and I think next season, like with their model and with what they're relying on, I think they're going to be in big trouble, and I can feel it coming. Like
yeah.
because Paul Jammon goes there in big trouble, and he can't just keep on churning through academy prospects like we touched on before. But yeah. Yeah, look, they'll be happy with where they're at, but definitely, I think in the off season they're going to have to do a lot of refreshing.
No, 100%. Yeah. And it's kind of one way. Do you see John Coleman sticking around for like a long term project? That's kind of hard to see that, isn't it? Like,
You just can't really see it. Like you look at the team, it's all very short term. Paul Jammond, getting on. You've Conan Noonan unknown from Rovers. You've a load of kind of the young prospects before you go back across the water. So yeah, like look, you could realistically see a new manager, a new starting 11 at Waterford first game of next season. So yeah, it seems a bit kind of like month by month from their ownership. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that pans out. But yeah, look, this game here. Yeah, 1-0 draw to probably.
yeah,
Yeah, they just check it out. They love a 1-0, and I'd fancy them here.
yeah,
What do you think?
yeah. I would probably lean towards draw. I might just go for a draw because it might just be one of those where it's kind of both sides are sitting in a little bit. Probably won't be a great watch on for the neutral really, but it might be just a little bit more difficult for Drogheda playing against the low block at times and Waterford themselves. Like so, it doesn't actually suit them the best really, as you said, to play against those types of teams really. So yeah, I'll go for 1-1. Just a bit of a tricky game for both sides.
Very fair. Yeah, no, I could well see that. I suppose then moving on to the Saturday game, Dublin Derby action in TOLKA Park. Shelbourne playing host to Bohemians, who Shels are actually playing in 20 minutes for us now. So we don't have a. It's kind of a weird time for us. Like we can't really reflect on what's going to happen tonight. We usually
Yeah.
know the result. Yeah, like this is a huge game for both sides, regardless of that European tie. Shels need to win here against Bohs, who, to be honest, have been a bit out of sorts since they've kind of got all that credit after beating Rovers in Dalymount Park. And Bohs are kind of in the weird spot now where they're out of form a tiny bit. They're still second,
Yeah.
but one or two losses and they could be fifth. So yeah, this is a very interesting game, isn't it?
Yeah, no, 100%. It'd be interesting to see kind of how Shels approach the next week or so, really, with that Bows game and the game obviously playing as a Rijeka from Croatia. So it's a tough game in probably hot, difficult conditions tonight now as well. So wonder how much of a toll. But I think for Shels, I think we've built actually a good squad now, I think, to the stage where like I think we went out to Carabag and made 8 changes and put in a good show. And then like I looked at the starting 11 for that Carabag game. I was like, it didn't look out of place. If you get me with 8 changes in the team, it still didn't look like, oh, this isn't like a full strength side. It looked good. Like, so I think we've got to the stage now where we're building a decent squad, like, and we've got good options, obviously. Hopefully the new signings start bedding in over the next couple of weeks, and maybe then we might see them this weekend as well. But yeah, it's gonna be a very, very difficult game. I think Shels beat Bows 1-0 at Talca and Bows beat Shels 1-0 at Dalymount. So it's been tight affairs between the two sides so far this season. And with so much on the line, it's hard to kind of call, isn't it? Like it's a really difficult one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. To be honest, I kind of fancying Shells here. I'm just looking at Bows like their results are a bit erratic. Like one win out of the last three. Yeah, they're just kind of they're kind of hitting a bit of like they had that great run. They had the bad start of the season. They had a great run of form, and now they're kind of leveling out a little bit.
A few draws,
Um,
isn't it, right lately, I think.
yeah, a few draws there, and obviously, the draw that let down. Look, they'd be fuming over that. They'll want to, get vengeance over that result last week and go. But listen, going to talk is tough. Like Shelbourne fans be under no illusions as well. This is a huge game. But look,
Yeah,
as you said, Shels squad rotation now, especially with the four new signings. I've heard good things about the American goalie from Minnesota. I've heard he's solid. So
yeah,
like almost that's nearly a strength because I felt like Connor Kearns was a bit under par through injuries and with low on confidence. And you always need a fresh, a fresh set of eyes to go in the goals and refresh things a little bit. So yeah, look, to be honest, here I'm going to go 2-1 Shells. I think they'll just have enough. I think, yeah, it'll really make things interesting in the European race because like what's there between them now? There's 4 points, so a win blows it wide open for Shells, and it kind of brings Pats back into it too. So yeah, that's what I think.
yeah. Because I was even thinking like I feel like these like even with Shels winning a Sligo last week. Now, granted, like Sligo missed a couple of really, really good chances. I don't know if you saw the highlights, but they missed a couple of setters. But Shels did play well and they had chances of their own as well. But I just feel like Europe can kind of, I know it can be tough and the traveling's tough, but I feel like playing against like these high level teams, it does just kind of sharpen you a little bit and it does raise your levels a bit. And I just think that it actually is a good thing as well, especially if you can get players experience in these big games and stuff as well. So I just think it does kind of sharpen your knife a little bit. Um, I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go 1-1. But yeah, it's a really, really tough game to call.
Yeah, it's very tough. And look, like I look at Shell's team, they're all their signings, and I really think in the off season, if they get European football again, they get a group stage behind them with that financial ramifications. I really think they could be the second team to Rovers in the league, like challenger wise, because like they're starting to build a real squad there. Like you look at the centre of park, and they've McElroy, they've Lunny, they've Coyle, they've Wood, they've Ali Coote, like they've real strength and depth. And it looks like they're adding that at the back now. So yeah, like I really think like obviously made four signs and they're going to take time to bed in, but I think two or three or four signs in the off season too. They'll really have essentially two strong 11s, so that'd be fantastic for the league. So yeah, I think Shells will do well here.
Yeah, yeah. We'll touch quickly on the European situation for Shels at the moment. Obviously, playing Rijeka tonight, and I think they had a man, their star striker sent off. So I think he's suspended for this game. He was sent off in last game, so that's a plus. I think they might have had another sending off potentially as well. So you kind of take all any kind of benefits and you can get. And I think for Shels, obviously going out there, if you can keep it tight, if you can keep it narrow and bring the game back to Talca Park, that's probably the aim, isn't it?
Yeah, look, that's it. You can't really see Shells going out there and get anything from the game, but keep it 1 or 2 goals max, and you're laughing. Like the second leg being in Talk, it's a huge boost.
Yeah,
Hala is like you've seen it. Like it's not the same for teams that aren't Rovers, which is understandable. But yeah, I can have a good feeling about this for Shels, to be honest. Like I know they're a Croatian team and they're of good pedigree, but they don't really sing to me, to be honest. I think if Shels can get them back to Talca, 1 goal down, pack out Talca, and just be nasty,
give them a
and
go.
like and learn from the learnings of that Quarterback game. I
Yeah,
really think they put it to them, and I think it could be one of these ties that potentially, if they played to their levels, could go into extra time and penalties. I really do feel that. So
yeah.
yeah, we'll see how tonight goes. But yeah, I really feel optimistic with Shels' credential. And look, if they lose, then they're playing Linfield again. So
Yeah, yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, so if worst case scenario in this one, you play Linfield or is it Faroe Islands
the
team?
Vikinger of the
Vikings.
Pharaohs, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was
Can't.
the Viking at use play, but it's the Faroe Islands version, which is a nice draw. Like,
Yeah, and look, key classic of the normal Pharaoh team that always wins the league. Like they had an off year last year. Kind of
yeah,
similar enough to obviously Sheffield in the league here, but like
yeah,
and then that Vikinger team has been pants this year as well. So it's not like they're running away again. They're out of form too. So yeah, either way, Linfield, you've already beaten the Vikinger part-time teams. So, yeah, you're laughing.
it's a
So
great.
I think Shell's spot now.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. Yeah, like in one that when Duff left, it was kind of like the season can go one of two ways here, and if they can pull it out the bag and get back into the top to get a European spot this season and get into the group stages with Duff leaving mid-season, like that's a serious achievement for the club to kind of pull that off, really, which is it's an unbelievable thing to do. So, yeah, all things going well. Shells can get through, but I think Joey Boyne is saying like give this one a go and see and. Don't look too far ahead or anything. This we can have a crack at these. So listen, see what happens in that one. But feeling positive now. The draw worked out well enough.
Yeah, definitely did. And look, it's funny you said we're Damien Duff there. Genuinely, like for someone we were talking about every week on this channel while he was at Shels, like he's a bit of an afterthought now. Like life does go on without him. And he's
Yeah.
probably, if I was probably looking at this thing, and Jesus, like I could have easily had group stage football here. And I feel like it just really shines the light on how rash that decision was. And I can't help but feel he'll regret it. So
Probably one for a different day. Might be able to reflect on it more at the end of the season. But I think
yeah.
he did like the most selfless thing a man can do. I think he knew like the players weren't reacting to him the same way, and he said they needed like a maybe more of a softer approach. Not that Joey Ryan has a soft approach, but just a little bit kind of less abrasive or something. And I think he did a really selfless thing by just saying, I think this squad has a better chance of performing well this season if I had to step aside. Like that's the vibe I'm getting from it now.
I get that perception from an outsider view, but if he was aware of that, surely he could tweak his style a little bit and like let Joey be a little bit more vocal, be a little less harsh, maybe go under the radar for a few weeks in the media. Like I feel like these are all learnings for him. Yeah, it's almost like he just needs to in his if he gets his next job, just less rash, less emotional.
Yeah, he put
But
himself
yeah,
out, didn't he? Really?
he really did. He hung himself a number of times when he didn't need to. Like Dalyman sitting on the hill and coming out and calling out lads after think there's a time and a place. Like look, Bradley did it to Josh Honahan after one of the games after getting called up for Ireland. Like there's a time and a place to do it. But if
Yeah,
you're doing it every week, you're gonna yourself. It falls in deaf ears eventually. So yeah.
yeah, no, 100%, 100%.
Yeah, I suppose then on the Sunday we've 2 more games. So Galway United are playing host to Shamrock Rovers in AMDC Park. Look, Galway. I was kind of listening to a few takes on this, being like, look, even if Galway do finish ninth, they'd be grand. I don't necessarily agree with that, to be honest, because I remember a few years back, Waterford had the same perception at the time. They played a UCD team who were great in form, young, up and coming squad, and they done them in Richmond Park. And I genuinely believe if Galway keep on going the way they're going and they come against the Bray Wanderers, for example, who have so much young talent, Billy O'Neill, the Ferrazai brothers, I really think like it's very easy to fall into the first division when you're almost complacent.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think even thinking back from Michelle's point of view, it was I think Longford who played them in the
That's
relegation.
another one. That's
Yeah,
another one.
they
Yeah,
caught us as
yeah.
well. Like, it's that you don't want to find yourself in that situation. It's completely different. Like when that team in the playoffs is coming through with really good momentum. Obviously, there's a lot of stages to go through, but you're coming in off wins and you're playing really well and you're momentum behind you. Whereas I think when you're in ninth, obviously you probably have the better squad on paper, but the momentum's probably on the floor. And Galway just looked floored completely right now. Yeah, they're just not putting any real good performances together, and I think the defeat to Cork is a real kind of eye opener to think like God, like we need to kind of change our approach for next season kind of thing. Do we need, as it got stale with Caulfield? I think Ollie Horgan, I'm not sure if he stepped taking a bit of a step aside recently, but yeah, it's just one of those where you really do feel concerned for them. And obviously Sligo didn't win last week, but they're not too far behind, and obviously have a bit more momentum behind them. So yeah, this is a big game for Galway. Like they'll be hoping that they can catch Rovers like a little bit. It's even hard to even imagine it, but Rovers obviously coming back from, was it Kosovo? He's out there this week, isn't it?
Ballkani, yeah, we're playing tomorrow night, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you'd be hoping
Which
maybe.
will be a tough game. That
Yeah,
will be a tough game. They're normally like kind of we're saying with key class of the Pharaohs, like these normally win their league in Kosovo as well. So
yeah,
like that is a big tie for us, and definitely one that probably will play the strongest team for both legs. So look, but then again, I'm looking at the league table here. Like Galway have conceded four to Waterford, who are seventh, and then they played Cork, who are tenth, and lose to them as well. So it's not like they've played Bohs and Rovers and have lost. Like they're losing the teams around them. Yeah, I know it's a huge game for them, and they probably want to win, but I just don't know. I just have a really bad feeling when it comes to Galway. As you said, kind of with Johnny Caulfield, maybe at the end of the season, the play is to kind of start fresh. Get rid of a few lads, maybe change the management. As great as Caulfield and Horgan have been, maybe it has run its course a little bit because it just feels stale. It
yeah.
feels boring, but it's just yeah vanilla at the moment, and
Especially after
yeah.
losing Moses Dyer, like it's just you feel sympathy
Yeah,
for guard as well, but it's just such a blow to them. That was like the main attacking source of goals, like and stuff, and they just don't
yeah,
really have. I think there's Stephen Walsh still knocking around. I think that young Costello lad they signed as well, so if he can maybe start banging in a few, but it's just yeah, Stephen Walsh is kind of getting on a bit now as well. Like it's just yeah,
yeah.
it's tough to see them kind of picking up a huge amount of points now between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, it's tough. Look, yeah, this game, as I said, probably there will be a few changes from a Rovers perspective. But I still like we have a good record against Galway this season. We won out there earlier on the season. It's always a tough game, but
Yeah,
if you kind of just defend well, they don't create too much. They can outside of set pieces and so on. So yeah, I'm gonna go 1-0 Rovers again. I say we'll just
yeah.
go and just
Yeah, I
show
was
show.
thinking because I think Galway will sit back and then make it difficult for you, and you might
Yeah,
have make a few changes yourselves and stuff like that. But I think the quality will show in the end. You might nick it, kind of maybe late on or something. But yeah, I just can't see on anything other than I think it might be a difficult fixture, but I can't say anything other than Rovers picking up all 3 points.
yeah, no, very fair.
Touch on Rovers
Um,
actually on the European situation. Obviously, we touched on Ballkani there, but if you get through them, is it Santa Clara for Portugal in the next round?
Portugal finished
Oh,
fifth. Now people are kind of really like banging their head against the wall, saying it's the worst draw we could have gotten. In theory, yes, but I don't feel necessarily as pessimistic about it as other teams feel. Like it's
yeah.
not like they're like a Braga in Portugal. I feel like they got fifth, but I don't necessarily think they get fifth this season again. And they're in pre-season. So look, yeah, they are better. On paper, they are a better team. But then again, like we have pedigree. I feel like it'll be a tighter game than necessarily a Portuguese team versus an Irish team. It won't be like that. It'll be kind of more closer. But yeah, like we have to get past Ballakani first. I really do rate them. I think that we're gonna have to be on our A game to get by them. But yeah, that'll be a tough tie. But look, yeah, the
At
second
least like
leg.
the league situation isn't like one where you need to be like like the league is you kind of have it wrapped up now. You can kind of put a lot of your focus and save players and bits and pieces for the European fixtures, which is a bonus, I guess. And I think as I say, it's like Santa Clara, obviously the Portuguese top four, and then below that is a huge step down. Like, but obviously it's still the Portuguese league. It is a good level, so very very difficult tie, but have to just attack it and hope for the best.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, it's the only thing I'm looking forward to. It's a good challenge, and if we win it, it'd be a brilliant result. And obviously, I think you'll be in the group, so the incentive is for us to join is there. But yeah, it's not the most ideal draw, but we'll
No,
see.
yeah, no, it'd be interesting to see how it plays out.
I suppose then moving on to the final game, in Richmond Park, St Patrick's Athletic are playing host to Sligo. Yeah, look, Pats are playing tomorrow night against Besiktas. That'd be a huge game for them in Tala. Bit of an
Yeah,
occasion. Maybe there'd be a bit of an adrenaline dump following that first leg. Obviously only Gunnar Solskjaer taking charge in that game, and he's under pressure. So you can imagine Besiktas will probably, will get a positive result from that game. But Pats, good win against Waterford. Like, yeah, kind of they went against kind of what they normally do in the league of underperforming and went out to Waterford and kind of clean enough result 2-0. And they'll be looking to build on that here against Sligo, who are also probably be a bit deflated after that Shelbourne result. But yeah, what did you watch the Shelbourne game? What did you make of it?
Yeah, watched some highlights back from the Shels game, and I think Sligo will be a little disappointed with a couple of the chances they missed. I touched on it earlier before, but I think they missed two really, really big chances. Um, I think obviously Shels had a couple of their own as well, and I think it's probably like Sligo aren't going to win every week. Like it's not one of those ones, but they are playing a lot better than they had been and picked up a lot more good results as of late. So it's going to be a good game. This could be like a bit of an end-to-end good watch. Like I could see it being a decent game. Pat's like you nearly not that you rest players for Sligo, but like they're not going to beat Besiktas. Like never in a million years they beat Besiktas. Like they need to be focusing on trying to like get top four at the very minimum. Like because even for Pats as well, that like nightmare draw in terms of I know you can use the FAI Cup as a route to get to Europe as well. They've drawn Shels and that, so like it's not working out nicely for Kenny in terms of that. In terms of the league position, the FAI Cup draw and the European draw, it's just something that can't really get any luck at the minute. So it's going to be interesting to see how the season plays out. And if Pat's finishing the bottom half, like I think if any manager was there other than Stephen Kenny, like if it was a Tim Clancy or anything, they'd be getting the boot. Like
It will be on the boot. The 100% will be on it. Like the irony if they go on now like a 7 or 8 win, it's like
yeah,
if they do that this year as well, like it's just you got to ask real questions to this group.
100%.
Um, like even like out and like pulling it out of the dirt over at Estonia, like they were arguably if they go out in that tie, like Kenny is in big trouble.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
really big trouble. It's not like the final moments like that that make or break your season, and obviously it kind of made their season in that regard. And they went used the momentum of that to beat Waterford. But yeah, 100%. It's not like as I said we were talking about Pats win the league before the season got going,
yeah.
and they found themselves in the bottom half after 26 games. Like so,
Isn't it?
yeah,
Mad.
it's hard to judge it. Like he's on a 5.5 year deal, and obviously like this group has let managers down before. But I don't know. I don't know who to point the finger at.
Difficult, isn't it? It is difficult. I think it's like another it's like a winter window of a massive overhaul you could nearly see again, like which is just crazy.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, it's I don't think Pats are going to go on a mad 8-9 winning streak, but I think they could go on definitely a bit of a pickup in league form in the last quarter and definitely be kind of challenging in that area, especially if as you'd expect, Europe will probably they'll probably go out of that, so they won't have any kind of major distractions really. So the league will be their full focus. So I could see them definitely having a better final quarter, but will that be enough to get back into that mix? It's hard to know. It's just so competitive. But I could see them just nicking it against Sligo. I think just about nicking it. But I think it could be a bit of a cracker. I'll go 3-2, Pats. Plenty of goals.
solid. That'd be solid. Yeah. Obviously Sligo. Yeah, they'll want to right this the kind of wrong of last week. But then again, Pats are kind of it's make or break time for them. Like
Yeah.
at 35 points, 6 points off, 6 points off fourth. Like they need to win this game, and I'll probably go to join in that. I'll go 3-2 as well. I could see goals in this, especially after that Besiktas game. I think Pats will be a bit leggy, and I think Sligo will capitalise. I think Pats will just have too much quality for them. So yeah, I think Pats will win.
Yeah. No, it'll be a big game now in fairness. And yeah, if Pats can win it and Shels drop points for Bohs and Shels draw, for example, or something, they start looking at it, it looks a little bit more positive in bits and pieces. So definitely gives them a bit of a chance and like yeah, you'd expect them to be a little bit better final quarter.
Yeah, you would 100%. And if not, like, yeah, it'd be a diabolical season. But yeah, guys, look, there we have it. There's our game week 27 preview and predictions and a bit of European talk too. Look, please leave a comment, let us know what you think. Talk about the results that have already happened that we don't know yet. And we can reflect on it in come up to the second leg videos also. So yeah, let us know and leave us a like. Let's try to get to 25 likes this week. And yeah, subscribe if you're new. But yeah, Ross, good to have you back. Cheers.
Thanks, William.